Hey everyone. So for something a bit different today, I thought we would interview my daughter Sarah. I know I've talked about her on the Facebook group before and you've seen photos, but thought it would be kind of cool and maybe interesting for you to, for me to chat with her and talk about her experience leaving Hong Kong, going to University of Australia, and just hopefully it'll help some of your kids through, that next transition for them. So, hey to Sarah.
Hello.
So first of all, do you want to just tell us how old you are now, where you're living, what you're studying?
So I'm 20 years old and I'm studying at the University of Queensland, which is in Brisbane. And this year I switched to a Bachelor of Communications. So I'm majoring in public relations for that. And currently I'm living on campus, so at a college called International House, which is affiliated with UQ.
Okay, fantastic. So for those people who don't really know much about UQ and the surrounding colleges, could you just tell us a little bit about, how that kind of is set up? Because I know every university is a little bit different.
Yeah, so at UQ there's 10 colleges. So there's one all-male one, and then about 3 all-girls ones, and then the rest
Okay.
are red. So I think the setup around most unis that at least I know people that are at is pretty similar. They usually have a few all girls, a few all guys, and then majority is usually co-ed. Yeah, the most people I know go to the co-ed ones. But I mean they're all different. Right. It depends on what you prefer. I wouldn't want to go to an all girls one, but it just depends I guess what you like about it. And it's really helpful to actually go and see the colleges if you can, because I don't know which one I would have picked if I hadn't actually come and visit it.
Yeah, exactly. It gives you a much better kind of idea of what you want. And I guess there are different, you can do catering or fully catered or self-catered and things like that.
Yeah, that's true. Because I'm pretty sure most colleges have a similar thing, but because we have undergrad living areas and then post-grad. So
right.
The post-grad are the self-catered, and then the rest of us, we have meals in a dining hall for us. So I think most colleges kind of have the same idea. They have some people who cater themselves and some people who get meals for each every week. They just get
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Okay, thanks. So if you think back to a couple of years ago when you had to leave Hong Kong, and that's been where you've lived. You're born here, so I'm born here in Hong Kong, so you spent your whole life here. So what do you think was the hardest thing about leaving?
I feel the hardest thing was, I guess, just the fact of I was moving to a completely different country, which is obviously super daunting at first, and just leaving friends and family behind, because from growing up there, it's I lived there my whole life. So it was really weird to leave after all that time. And I guess also I don't know anyone in Brisbane when I first came here. So
True.
I mean that's what I wanted that, but at the same time
I was gonna say that's what you chose, right?
Yeah, made it more scary just because there's no one to just be hey, I need help kind of thing. So
yes.
I think just
exactly.
more that was, I mean, obviously because we are Australian, but I would never say that I'm from Australia because I know nothing. When I first
that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole life, so it's
absolutely. And you don't exactly sound Australian either, do you?
Yeah. I thought that I knew a lot about I don't know, just slang or Australian things, and then I knew more than most people at International House because obviously they're from all over the place. But I still found myself just being I have no idea what anyone's talking about.
Yeah, I do remember that. You're telling them
be fine, but
yeah, it's quite different, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. And I know that for me, when you were leaving, I was reading books about leaving and leaving well, and how to transition from being in Hong Kong to living in Australia, and so is there anything that you, or that I did that you did that you think helped that transition process?
Yeah, I think just being organized and having packing lists and stuff to make sure that I didn't forget to bring anything important with me, because it's a time where everything is just kind of all over the place and it's
Yes,
difficult to try and remember everything. So
true.
that was useful. And then also having you come down with me, because I think that would have been a struggle trying to unpack. And then because O week is so busy, like I wouldn't
That's
have
right.
time to do anything. And I thought like when we left, we had a lot of stuff for my room, but then we realized that we really didn't have a lot of stuff for my room.
Yeah.
So
We still had to do quite a lot, didn't we?
I think I would have struggled, like, because obviously I have no idea. I've never been to Brisbane before, so I didn't know like where to buy stuff, and like I don't have a car, so like now I could probably get like I could do it all myself because I know the transport, but back then I had no idea. So I think having you there to help me like drive around and get stuff, or is obviously a lot quicker as well. Yeah, so I feel like that was definitely helpful because I don't think I could have done it very well on my own. I think it would have just been a mess.
I think that, I don't know, like for me, and I think you were surprised as to the fact that, we arrive one day and then on the Saturday, on the Sunday you move into college, and then it's pretty much full on from then.
Yeah, I mean,
like your days are pretty busy, weren't they?
Yeah, because obviously like a week is the week before like uni starts. So you don't have any uni stuff, but most colleges that like at least here, from talking to my friends, like their O weeks are just packed.
Yeah.
Like every hour there's something for the entire week. So yeah, I know that just to get my room sorted, I missed a lot of the activities. Like I went to probably the majority of them, but there's definitely a few that I know my friends now have talked about. I'm like, oh, I didn't go to that because I was busy.
Oh, okay. Oh, really?
Packing. Like I tried to miss like the things that I thought wouldn't be, like they would be okay to miss out, like on just some random like. I remember there was a talk about like different cultures and like how to interact. I was like, oh, okay, well, I don't
need to do that. Yeah. Kind of good at that. Yeah.
Of elimination of what I thought I could miss out on. Then obviously I went to most of the kind of, I wouldn't say like important, but the things that most people go to are usually like in the late afternoon because that's when you organize the big activities. Like we went to like bounce, or we did like pub crawl, or we did just like bigger things like that. So those are the ones that I made sure to go to. But then like during the day, there's a lot of just like talks and stuff, which definitely very packed. So I definitely had to miss a few things. I don't think anyone went to every single activity because I think you would have died before uni started.
Yeah, and I think I remember because, there were some, because obviously I was there the whole week. So sometimes when you're off doing things, I would do things in your room and, you're okay with that. But I know there were some people like your friends on your floor who just, their stuff got dumped in their room and their parents left and pretty much that's how their room stayed, right, for the whole time. They just didn't have time.
I think there's no time. And I mean, people have different, like, views.
Yeah.
They want to keep their room.
They do. Yeah, exactly.
I think I would have been stressed out because, like, I like things to be organized and, like, put away.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was helpful. And I think everything kind of went, like, pretty smoothly because we were pretty organized. So I think.
Yeah, we were really organized. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. And so were there some things that you were particularly worried about moving to Australia for uni?
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely nervous because I always kind of knew that I was going to go to Australia because that just makes sense. But I think like the biggest thing for me was like, am I going to make any friends? Like, because
for sure.
It's completely new people, like just completely foreign to me in like every way. So I think, I don't know, for me, like finding friends is super important. And that was something I was super worried about. Yeah. And also just wondering like how different like uni was going to be to high school because I just didn't know if I was actually prepared enough for it or like if, like.
Yeah, fair enough.
Kind of, because in high school they're always like, this will help you for uni and this, but like, how do you know? And so
that's right. Until you go there, like, is it really going to help? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I think just arriving in a new place and then not knowing like anybody. I mean, as soon as I like got there, like I got here, it was completely fine. Like I met people in the first like 5 minutes because I think college does a really good job of not like forcing you, but like kind of forcing you to just be around people for the whole week that is like your cohort. I would kind of say it's kind of like your year group, like in high school, but obviously you mingle with everyone else too.
Yes.
So I think that was what I was worried about. But yeah, no, I met people like on the first date that I'm still super close with now. But at the same time, like a lot of people, like a few people I'm friends with now, like I didn't really meet them until weeks and weeks into the semester. So like I wouldn't say
Right.
if right away like you don't make friends who you stick with all the time, because I mean I met my friend Peyton like on the first day because we lived like in the same building together.
Yes,
So
that's right.
that was helpful because anytime we'd go somewhere, like I just go downstairs and then she'd be there. So
Yeah, so that was nice.
yeah, so I think if you don't meet anyone though, like there's so many opportunities to like even just like on a normal week, like people are always doing stuff, or like Thursdays everyone like goes out, or like there's always activities like being arranged throughout the semester. So
Yeah,
there's always
yeah, fantastic.
college events to go to. So yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of college, so I think when we went down to go and have a look around at uni and at colleges, we like kind of did some research beforehand, and then we picked, I think we visited 4, right?
Yeah.
4 different colleges. So
we
yeah, so what kind of
co-ed ones, but we missed one because I didn't know it existed. But
oh really?
yeah,
Oh, that's funny.
I think we went to IH, Emmanuel, Johns, and Cromwell, but we didn't know about Union, which is funny.
Oh yeah, that's true, which is just like down the road.
Yeah, it's just not very advertised, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why we missed that one. And so anyway, so what was the main reason for choosing International House?
So I chose IH, I think, because like growing up in Hong Kong, you're surrounded by people like from all over the world. So I kind of wanted to replicate that in a way when choosing where to live in Brisbane, because I thought that I'd feel like at home there.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so if it was similar to what I had in like in Hong Kong, I thought like, oh, like maybe I'll feel more comfortable. Yeah, I mean, I think now, like looking back at like what I chose, like, I think from growing up in Hong Kong, like I thought, oh, like it's best if I just go to International House because, you know, I'll feel more comfortable. But at the same time, like from meeting people from all of the other colleges, like they're from everywhere. Like there's definitely more people from Australia and the other colleges because obviously this is marketed towards international students and exchange. But no, I think there's people from all over the place in all the other colleges. So even if like you are from somewhere like Hong Kong, like it doesn't necessarily mean you have to try and find like a place like that. It just worked for me. But yeah, like anyone would fit in anywhere because there's always little groups and like different people in all the colleges. So I mean, yeah, I think it's just easy to meet people anywhere. But yeah, so I just chose IH because I thought that it would be the most like Hong Kong, I guess.
Yeah, okay. And so then thinking about university, so originally you had, I think, 3 or 4, you applied to 3 different states, so South Australia, Victoria, and Queensland. And obviously our family, people probably don't know that, is from South Australia. So, you know, I was kind of like, oh, maybe you could go to uni in Adelaide because like my family's there. And anyway, and so we did do the tour of Uni SA there, and then you were thinking of Melbourne and then also Brisbane, Queensland. So how did you come to decide that UQ was where you wanted to go?
I mean, honestly, I didn't even know anything about UQ. I didn't know what it was like at all because I was just, I mean, it's kind of hard when you don't live in Australia to know like all the unis. Like now from living here, I know there's all these like little unis all around here that I didn't know of before. Yeah, I really only knew of like Uni SA from obviously like you being from Adelaide, and then like Uni of Melbourne, and just the kind of big ones that I've heard of.
Yes.
But no, I was just researching one day, like just randomly, and I came across UQ, and I was like, oh, I've never heard of this before. So I just like clicked on it and started looking through. And I was like, oh, this looks quite nice. And I just kind of started looking through the courses, and at the time I had absolutely no idea what I was studying, so I was just kind of choosing random stuff. Yeah. And I thought like, oh, like I'll just apply here because I heard that it was like kind of hard to get in, so I was like, oh, I probably won't get in there. And then I still wasn't super sure like if I wanted to go there or not at the time. But then we went down to Australia and we went to Adelaide and we visited Uni of SA. I didn't really like it that much for me personally. It just wasn't like what I was like envisioning, I guess, for uni, because it was more so just like not like, didn't feel like a campus because it was like, it's in the middle of the city. So,
That's right. Yeah, it doesn't have that kind of big university feel, does it?
yeah. So I thought, oh, like, I don't know if it's for me. And then we also decided on that trip to visit Brisbane for the first time because like I'd never been there. So we could visit UQ. And when we went there, I really, really, really liked the campus, and just how open and like green, big it was and stuff like that. Yeah, then we did like a uni tour with the people there and did college tours. So that kind of helped consolidate the decision just from seeing like where I could go to uni and where I could like live.
That's right.
The colleges here are a bit nicer than the ones that we saw in Adelaide.
Yeah, they are a bit. Yeah.
Well, so it feels more of like,
yes,
like where I live in St. Lucia, like it's very much a college town. Like everyone who lives here is either in college or from uni. Like, because there's lots of houses around here, but a lot of people just all go to uni. So it's like a uni town. So I feel like that was kind of cool.
Yes, yeah, it's definitely something to think about.
Just comparing it, I was like, oh, like I think I like this better.
Yeah, well, the situation in Adelaide is that there's only 4 of them, obviously, and smaller city, but also they're about 30 or 40 minutes kind of walk away, weren't they? And obviously you coming from Hong Kong, you didn't get your license before you came here, and that's like another whole like conversation.
Yeah.
So maybe we can do another talk about that because that's always interesting for people. But so the fact that you could, walk, it takes you 5 minutes to get to uni, and great public transport, and that kind of just made things a lot easier, right?
Yeah, because even when we were doing the college tours in Adelaide, I was like, oh my god, this is so far. Like we were just walking for ages, and I was like, oh. Even like the colleges themselves are really far apart from each other, whereas like so there's kind of 2 areas of colleges, I would say, at UQ. So where I am, there's 2 other colleges literally right next door and then right up the hill. Like it's within 2 minutes. So
yes,
we often do events with like those 2 colleges, and then there's College Road, which is like right next to the university, which is where a lot of the other colleges are. So it's kind of like split up in a way, but then like we still go to the other colleges for events and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it's just much more convenient, and IH is probably like the closest one or one of the closest to uni, like
right, yeah,
to walk on campus.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's very quick.
Because I don't have to wake up early. I can just leave right before my
always a bonus, hey.
Yeah.
And now you talked a little bit just before about the fact that you didn't really know what you wanted to study, because I know this is always a big question, and I kept saying to you, so many people don't know what they want to study, and even if they do, they often change their mind.
Yeah.
And you did go through a few kind of iterations about what you were going to do. And so I'm guessing most people would know, but you did the IB at Discovery College, and you just picked subjects that you kind of enjoyed doing and then went from there. So just talk us through like what was your first plan and what you ended up doing or what you're doing now.
Yeah, from doing IB, because I did really random subjects, and one of them was psychology, which I just thought would be interesting. So I was like, oh, okay, like we'll study this. And then, so from doing that in high school, I kind of was like, oh, like maybe I'll do that in uni, which like just kind of thought, oh, that makes sense. If I studied here, maybe it'll be, good in uni. So, but no, I had absolutely no clue. I was just picking random stuff. Like honestly, in IB, I had no idea what I wanted to do. Whereas which was hard because I felt like everyone else was like, okay, I need these subjects to be doing this in uni. And I was like, oh, I'm just choosing random things. So my first year, last year when I came, I started doing a Bachelor of Arts because I thought, okay, like this course is pretty broad. Like there was so many different, I guess, study fields like within Bachelor of Arts. Like, yeah, there's loads. So that's how I started doing psychology, because that was a part of it as well. So I thought, okay, if I do this now, then I can always switch it around. But no, I applied to a lot of random stuff. Like I think
you remember you were going to do event management. That was your first.
Yes. So I originally was going to do event management and like tourism kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Thing. And then I was like, oh, like how if I don't want to do that? And then I was like, oh, how if I do animal science, which was really random.
Oh, that's right. That was wildlife science, wasn't it?
And then I was like, oh, I don't know. And then I applied for animal science, psychology, design course. I did, what else I do? I applied for Bachelor of Arts, the event management. So I literally just applied to whatever, because when I was applying to uni, I had absolutely no clue. So I thought if I just applied to everything, I could choose later. Like everything I
Yeah, exactly.
could decide later when I actually had to like choose, and then I could see what offers I got and things like that.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, so first year I took a really random mix of courses. Like I did psychology, I did French, marketing, and a few communications courses and stuff like that. But yeah, after the first year, I was like, oh, like I don't want to do any of these.
Yeah.
So I decided I didn't want to do psychology because I didn't really want to become a psychologist or something to do with that. And I was like, oh, it's not really for me. So then I began like looking at communications courses and kind of that back to that event management kind of thing.
Yes.
So then I decided maybe like towards the end, I think, of second semester last year, that I wanted to do the Bachelor of Communications. Because I like the idea, like as I said before, of something to do with event management. And then I started looking to public relations and social media kind of stuff like that. Yeah, I think what helped me make the decision is obviously trying something in first year that I didn't like. So then I knew I didn't want to do that, which narrowed down the options.
Yeah, absolutely.
I knew that I'm not really like a person who is good at like science and like that kind of stuff. Like I knew I didn't want to do anything with that. So like I kind of started to narrow it down. Like I was like, oh, well, I'm not going to do like engineering. I don't want to do law. I don't want to do. So then I kind of narrowed it down, and I thought communications would be good. And I also kind of did a lot of like research online, I guess, about where like a communications degree would lead me after uni. So I started watching like, videos about people who worked in fields that I thought would be quite good. Like I watched like day in the lives of people who work at like different companies doing like social media or doing PR and stuff like that. So I think from like looking at that kind of stuff, it really helped me like, oh, like I want to do that, so I should study this to get to that. Even
It's a good idea.
I don't know what I want to do, but it's more of an idea of, I kind of know the field that I want to go into. So
yes,
I think just researching and kind of knowing what you don't like doing helps you narrow down what you could.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good advice.
Helped me.
Yeah, no, I remember you also said, yeah, maybe you also said to me like, oh, you know, I don't want to be that person that keeps switching and changing all the time.
Yes.
And
I thought
but you also, and you don't want to be that, I guess, all the time, but it's okay to change, and so many people do it, right?
Yeah, like I know so many people. So even now, like starting because I'm in my second semester of my first year of communications, and literally I think every single person that I met except one has said, like, because they always ask the question like, oh, like what year are you in, blah blah blah. I was like, well, like second year of uni, first year of this like degree. I'm like, oh, like saying like they switch from so many random different things. Even there's a girl at IH who was doing, what's she doing? Like some type of business thing. And then she switched to like midwifery like this year. Like,
wow.
Like it was very much just a complete.
Yeah, that's really
like
that's a real change.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't like normalize the fact that everybody switches around. Like a lot of people think when you come to uni, you pick something, that's it. I mean, some people are lucky and they do that, but for a lot of people, they just switch around. Like always after first year, like that's the most common time to switch. I mean, not saying you can't switch later, but it's just easier if you just do it after first year because you don't want to be in uni for like 5-6 years.
Yeah, yeah, true. Yeah, okay. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, cool. So do you have, I don't know, some advice or tips for starting uni?
Yeah, I think following on, I guess from the previous question, like don't stress if you don't know what you're studying, because like, I had no idea. I just applied to the most random courses. So I think if you just, like I said before, kind of like choose what you or like what you like.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I feel like don't be nervous about choosing a course that you think you're going to have to study for the rest of your life, because you don't have to stick with it. Even if you study something in university, after uni, you could just do something completely different, because like if you like just work hard and if you really want to do something, then you can just do it. Like you don't necessarily have to have like a degree for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think also like not just in terms of uni stuff, just I mean like not like work things. I think uni is like very different to high school, like in terms of like drama and gossip and like just the whole social high school experience. Um, and yeah, I feel like the social pressure almost like in high school is just so much worse than uni because at uni, like honestly, no one really cares. Like,
Yeah.
back,
Yeah. Which is, yeah, it's good to know.
yeah, like when looking back in my high school experience, like I always just remember feeling like it was always like a competition, like everyone had to be better than everyone, or like if you were part of this group, like you were this and that. And it was always so annoying because you felt like you had to just fit in with everyone, which like obviously everyone like wants to, but I mean here it's kind of this because there's so many people, at least at my uni and at college, like there's usually so many people that there's always groups, like there's always groups everywhere. But I feel like you're gonna find like people who you get on with and like there's definitely been people that I meet here where I'm like, oh, like, you know, I'm probably not gonna be friends with this person, but I really like this person because we get on well. So it's I feel like in high school because you're kind of stuck in your year group, if that makes sense. Like whereas in
That's
uni,
right.
all
Yeah.
my friends are like all different ages. Like I'm the youngest in my friend group and then I have like my friends who are like 22, 23, 21, like it's literally all whereas in high school like everyone was like 17 or 18 like in the last year.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone was the same age. And it's kind of nice to have I think what helps having older friends is that it's not so like drama like it's not as much like of that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Over it. And I think once I found like my friends and I felt like oh like I can just be like myself and like no one it's not as like judgy, I feel like. I mean college some people think that it's very much like high school where it's like cliquey and it's like all the different colleges where in a way like there's definitely a college like hierarchy that's kind of like just
Yes. Yeah.
but like it really doesn't like matter and I feel like everyone always is concerned about leaving high school but like I don't know not being in touch with everyone and then you're gonna not like fit in when you come back but like it really doesn't matter. I know when I go home like it's like no one ever left but it's everyone's just
That's right.
mature I think.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure that's just as you're getting older, right? It happens as well when people have got different life experiences and
so I feel like
it's always nice to come back.
Yeah, advice would be don't bring like high school stuff into uni because no one really cares. Like I know I've met people who like to boast about high school stuff, but like no one really cares because it's like you're in uni now. Like obviously you can talk about high school, but I think in terms of like, oh, like I got this in like this class, and it's like, okay, but like it's not really like relevant anymore. So,
yeah, that's right.
I was stressing out so much about like grades and like, oh my gosh, everyone's comparing in high school and like, you know, your final like results and stuff.
Yeah.
No one ever talks about that anymore. Like you're in uni, like you made it already, so it doesn't matter.
I was going to say and the fact that results have just all come out here, so it's always good to hear that as well, right?
I mean, obviously this year there's been a lot of drama with the results, at least for IB. But as long as you can try and get into a course that you like once you get here, just forget about it. Because I know that I was super happy with my grade, and then I started comparing it to other people's, and I wasn't happy anymore. So I feel like just don't compare it to your friends because everyone studies different subjects, and it's all different. Like even here, like no one. Because in high school, I guess most people, if you're in your class together, everyone kind of studies a similar thing where you all do English, you all do math, you all do this. But uni, like me, I don't have a single person studying the same degree as me, so we can't really, there's no comparison because like, I don't know, like people that I know study like physio, computer science, architecture, and then I'm doing communications. Like I can't compare my grades to my friend Megan who does physio because it's entirely different. Like
exactly.
Okay, so
yeah. Okay, fantastic. And so thinking about, you know, the fact that you did IB and then heading into uni. So how did that prepare you, do you think, starting university?
Yeah, I think it did. I mean, when I first came to uni, I was confused because obviously the online platforms that you use are different to what you get in high school, but like you get used to it quite quickly. I think the assignments are definitely like of higher like standards because I mean, I have like assignments that are worth 50% of my grade. Sometimes just
Right.
assignments that are worth 50% of your grade, which is kind of interesting because, I mean, that if you mess up one, then you fail. I mean, a lot of the courses structure where it's like you have like some 10%, 20%, 30%, and stuff like that. So usually it's not that bad, but then when you get unlucky, like I did, and have 50%, it's kind of hard. But
yes,
like uni has a lot of resources available. Just like even textbooks, like you have access to the library, which is like all online as well, where you can just find like textbooks so you don't have to buy them if you can find them.
Because they're expensive, aren't they?
Yes. So if you get into group chats, people can send you free things. So I think from doing the IB though, I felt that it did prepare me quite well just for the style of assignments, which is they were kind of similar to what I was used to and like referencing and things like that. I think obviously like, the content is different because it's like completely different, but
for sure.
Style of writing, even I found that I don't know, like comparing it to people in my class and we would like help each other out. Like, I feel like I just instinctively knew how to like write this type of stuff, like an essay. I just know how to write it. I know how to do like a lot of my courses use APA referencing, which is what we did all throughout high school. So I feel like that's really helpful because I already know like how it should look and how I should do that. So I think, just the style of writing, I think IB really prepared me for, just because they make us write so many things like that internal.
They do.
Like that. But honestly, like, I just, a piece of advice would be, even if you don't know, like, just don't be afraid to ask for help because all the tutors and lecturers and like course coordinators, they always really want to help you. And like, I'm always emailing them. And if you get, I mean, obviously sometimes you get really bad course coordinators if they're just not organized, but a lot of the time all of mine have been really helpful and like my tutors are always happy to help. So
obviously you're in your second year, and I mean a lot of people choose to move out of kind of college in their second year, but you didn't. So how did you, or why did you decide to do that?
I decided to stay on campus, I think, just because it's so convenient, like it's so close and so easy to get to uni. Also this year I've joined the executive team and I'm also an RA at college. So I think just doing those roles, I mean, I was kind of employed by the college. So like we had to apply last year. So I kind of knew that I was going to stay second year just because I was applying for those roles. So like as an RA, we are kind of like the office when they're closed. So that's a good role for me to do because we get paid for that. So it's kind of like my job. And then also it's like a good experience to be on the executive team, which is kind of like our student club representative. So we like have a bunch of different positions and we organize like all the events. So I thought that that would be fun to do this year. Obviously it's changed quite a bit because COVID. We can't run too much, but this like last semester we unfortunately like college had to close. But this sem we opened up again and we're allowed to do like a lot more events and stuff, which is good. So I think just also my friends are staying, which helps, and we're planning on next year. So pretty much my entire like close friend group was all RAs as well. So we all decided to apply and then that we're going to stay second year.
Okay, fantastic. Okay. And you just mentioned doing online learning. So I know when college closed and you went online, it was, we were kind of surprised and it was a few like, oh my gosh, what are you going to do? And I know that you didn't particularly love online learning to begin with, or probably didn't really love it the whole way through, but just tell us a bit about that.
I think it was really like strange at first just because I'd never really done any type of online learning. But after a while, I did get like pretty much used to it. Most of my courses did move online like pretty smoothly, which was good. It makes it harder if a course doesn't really like flow very well into online learning. Oh, hello. Someone's waving at me. Oh, it's Brad.
That's fine.
So I think it's definitely hard if someone, like if the course coordinator doesn't really move it online very well, which is, a lot of, like that's happened quite a bit with a few courses.
Because it depends on your course too. Like some are harder to go online, right?
Exactly. So I think I found that I also had a lot more time on my hands because I wasn't at college anymore, which is where distractions happen. I always run into people. As you can see, people keep walking past. But yeah, I think I have more time to study, which helped with my grades quite a bit. And yeah, also just because there's no college or even like university events to go to, I had just way more time. Like I find that
Oh
even
yeah.
at uni now, within the first 2 weeks, like I just feel way, way, way more busy than I did when we're doing online. But yeah, I feel like last semester definitely helped me like focus a bit more on my studies because there was literally nothing to do.
I was gonna say you couldn't do anything,
Right?
right?
Do my assignments. Whereas now, like being back, it's definitely I have to make sure I'm like scheduling time. Whereas before it was like, oh, like I'm bored, let me work on this now, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think it wasn't too bad. At first I absolutely hated it. But I feel like
Yeah, I remember that.
so I was like, oh, actually it's not too bad. Like it's kind of in a way, like it wasn't better, but it was kind of, I don't know, easier to just kind of log on to class, log off of class, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas like now I have to walk away to class, which is nice to be able to go back on campus, but at the same time it's like readjusting to being on campus, does that make sense?
Yeah, so this semester you have what's called flexible learning.
Yeah, so there's two, for a lot of the courses they have two like modes now. So they have flexible delivery and then external.
Oh, flexible delivery, that's right.
Yeah, so the external students are just completely online like I was last semester. And then now a lot of people are doing flexible delivery, which is where you have lectures and like workshops and stuff like all online. So it's just on Zoom. And then you have your tutorials or like in-class things, like you go to campus for that. So now I go to campus 2 times a week for 4 of my tutorials. So those tutorials are just like people who are in your lectures normally, who it's just like it's basically like classes, like when you in high school, like when you just have like your normal class in like math or something. Like it's like that. It's just a class of like 20.
Right.
Actually, like kind of have group discussion, whereas in a lecture when there's like 100 people, you can't really like have a discussion.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, we have that in person, which is quite nice to meet people from your course as well, so you can like ask for help, which is good. So
Yes.
that's good that offered that.
Yeah, fantastic. And my last question, as you probably already answered, which was, what did you find good about online learning and what was kind of more challenging? But I know like one of the cool things, because obviously you had to move out of college, and so you were staying in an apartment, so you kind of got to get a bit of a glimpse of what that would be like. Mm-hmm. And also you got to do driving, so
yes,
that was pretty cool, because obviously that's a big challenge. Coming from Hong Kong, how do you get your license, how do you get your hours up and things like that? So I guess that was one of the pluses of that period of time, right? As well.
Yeah, definitely. Just kind of gave an insight into what it would be like moving out here next year. And yeah, very beneficial. I can get some hours for my driving because I've had my like license, my learners for like a long time. But
that's right.
I haven't been able to drive because I was too scared to drive in Brisbane because it's really crazy. But then when we were in New South Wales, it's a lot more open roads and like it's not like a city. So we were where we were staying. So that was a lot easier to practice driving for the first time. So now I feel a lot more confident. I've started to drive in Brisbane. I feel like if I just threw myself in the deep end and started driving around the city, that wouldn't have been good.
So good, yeah.
Yeah, it's good that I managed to get some hours up, and then, yeah, like you said, have a glimpse of what it would be like to.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, awesome. Well, that is the end of my questions. Thank you very much. I know it's Sunday morning there, so it's a little bit later for you than me though, so I appreciate you getting up and like talking with us, and so I know that I'm sure it's going to be really helpful for lots of people, especially in this period after results come out and that kind of thing. So yeah, so I think we'll say bye.
Alrighty,
and thanks so much.
No worries.
See you later.